Deep beneath the Sahara Desert, ground-penetrating radar has revealed something that defies every geographical textbook ever written. An entire river system, larger than the Nile, flowing silently through solid bedrock, invisible to satellites, undetectable from the surface. This subterranean giant carries more water than all the surface rivers of North Africa combined. Yet its existence was completely unknown until 2015. We think we know our planet. We believe 200 years of modern science has mapped every mountain, charted every ocean current, and cataloged every geological phenomenon. But what if the Earth we think we understand is merely a surface layer, concealing mysteries that challenge the very foundations of planetary science? Today, we journey through 101 verified facts about our world that seem too strange to be true, yet are supported by rigorous scientific evidence. We will explore impossible geological formations, examine atmospheric phenomena that violate known physics, and investigate biological adaptations that push the boundaries of what life can achieve. Prepare yourselves. We begin. Music. The ocean floor contains features so massive and so geometrically perfect that their discovery forced scientists to completely reconsider how planetary geology operates. In 1977, researchers mapping the Atlantic seafloor discovered a mountain range that dwarfs the Himalayas, stretching 40,000 miles around the globe like a planetary scar. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge represents the longest mountain system on Earth, yet 90% of humanity remains completely unaware of its existence. No, but the scale of this underwater mountain range represents only the beginning of ocean floor mysteries. The ridge contains volcanic activity so intense that it creates entirely new ocean floor at a rate of several inches per year. This process, called seafloor spreading, means that the Atlantic Ocean is actively widening while the Pacific simultaneously shrinks. The Earth's surface is not static, but engaged in a slow-motion planetary-scale transformation that will eventually reconfigure every continent. Deep ocean trenches contain environments more alien than the surface of Mars. The Mariana Trench descends nearly 7 miles below sea level, creating pressure conditions so extreme that they would instantly crush conventional submarines like aluminum cans. Yet life thrives in these crushing depths. Scientists have discovered fish, crustaceans, and microorganisms that have evolved biological mechanisms for surviving pressures that exceed 1,000 atmospheres. The chemistry of deep ocean trenches reveals even stranger adaptations. Bacteria living near hydrothermal vents metabolize hydrogen sulfide and methane, creating ecosystems completely independent of sunlight. These organisms represent the only known life on Earth that does not ultimately depend on solar energy for survival. They exist in permanent darkness, feeding on chemicals ejected from Earth's interior, suggesting that life can emerge and thrive under conditions previously considered absolutely incompatible with biological processes. Recent discoveries indicate that ocean trenches contain liquid carbon dioxide in a state that doesn't exist anywhere else on Earth's surface. And the extreme pressure converts CO2 into a dense liquid that pools on the seafloor like metallic mercury. This liquid carbon dioxide creates unique chemical environments where conventional rules of chemistry no longer apply. But the ocean depths contain mysteries that extend beyond simple chemistry and geology. Sonar mapping has identified massive geometric patterns etched into the seafloor that span hundreds of square miles. These patterns show mathematical precision that seems inconsistent with natural geological processes. The formations remain unexplained, with some scientists suggesting they represent evidence of massive underwater landslides, while others propose more exotic explanations involving methane seeps or unknown biological activities. The deep ocean preserves a complete record of Earth's magnetic field reversals spanning millions of years. As new seafloor forms at mid-ocean ridges, iron-rich minerals align with Earth's magnetic field, creating permanent records of magnetic pole positions. This geological archive reveals that Earth's magnetic field has reversed hundreds of times throughout planetary history, with the magnetic north and south poles completely switching positions. The timing of these magnetic reversals appears random, occurring anywhere from thousands to millions of years apart. During reversal transitions, Earth's magnetic field weakens dramatically, potentially exposing the surface to increased cosmic radiation. Some scientists have proposed correlations between magnetic reversals and mass extinction events, suggesting that cosmic radiation during weak field periods may have contributed to biological catastrophes throughout Earth's history. Ocean floor sediments contain preserved evidence of massive underwater avalanches that dwarf any terrestrial landslide. These submarine mass movements can displace thousands of cubic miles of sediment in single events, creating tsunami waves and reshaping ocean basins. The largest known submarine landslide, the Storegga slide off Norway's coast, occurred 8,200 years ago and generated tsunami waves exceeding 80 feet that devastated coastal regions across the North Atlantic. But seafloor mysteries represent only one category of planetary strangeness hidden in plain sight. Earth's atmosphere contains layers and phenomena that operate according to principles that still puzzle atmospheric scientists. The thermosphere, located between 50 and 400 miles above Earth's surface, reaches temperatures exceeding 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit during solar maximum periods. These temperatures seem paradoxical because the thermosphere is also where spacecraft orbit and satellites don't melt, despite being immersed in gas molecules moving at extreme thermal velocities. The explanation lies in atmospheric density. The thermosphere contains so few molecules that despite their high individual velocities, they transfer negligible heat to objects passing through them. This counterintuitive temperature profile creates strange atmospheric behaviors. The thermosphere expands and contracts dramatically in response to solar activity, sometimes doubling in thickness during solar storms. These expansions increase atmospheric drag on satellites, causing orbital decay that requires periodic corrections. Space agencies must continuously monitor solar activity to predict thermospheric expansion and maintain satellite orbits. The mesosphere, positioned between the stratosphere and thermosphere, contains the coldest temperatures anywhere in Earth's atmosphere. Summer mesospheric temperatures can drop below -200 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to freeze water vapor into ice clouds, despite the mesosphere's extreme altitude and minimal moisture content. These noctilucent clouds form at altitudes exceeding 50 miles, making them the highest clouds in Earth's atmosphere. Noctilucent clouds have increased in frequency and brightness over the past century, for reasons that remain unclear. Some scientists attribute the increase to rising methane emissions that enhance water vapor in the upper atmosphere. Others propose connections to climate change or cosmic dust inputs. The clouds represent one of the few atmospheric phenomena that appears to be directly responding to human industrial activity at altitudes far above where such effects were thought possible. The ionosphere creates natural radio mirrors that reflect electromagnetic waves around Earth's curvature, enabling long-distance radio communication without satellites. This atmospheric layer contains free electrons and ions, produced when solar radiation strips electrons from atmospheric molecules. The ionosphere's reflective properties vary with solar activity, time of day, and season, creating constantly changing conditions for radio wave propagation. But the ionosphere also produces bizarre atmospheric electrical phenomena. Sprites, elves, and blue jets represent recently discovered forms of lightning that propagate upward from thunderstorms into the ionosphere, reaching altitudes exceeding 60 miles. These electrical discharges were theorized to exist for decades before being photographed in 1989. They represent electrical connections between Earth's surface and the edge of space that operate through mechanisms still not completely understood. Sprites appear as massive red electrical discharges that can span 30 miles vertically and 50 miles horizontally, making them far larger than conventional lightning. They last only milliseconds, but release enormous amounts of energy. Their discovery fundamentally changed understanding of atmospheric electricity and revealed that Earth's electrical circuit operates through vertical as well as horizontal pathways. Elves represent even stranger phenomena appearing as expanding rings of light that propagate horizontally through the ionosphere at speeds approaching the speed of light. These electromagnetic pulses can span hundreds of miles in diameter, creating brief illumination visible from space. They result from electromagnetic radiation generated by powerful lightning strikes interacting with the ionosphere's free electrons. The atmosphere contains layers of sporadic metal atoms that shouldn't exist at high altitudes. Sodium, iron, and other metals from meteorite ablation accumulate in distinct atmospheric layers between 50 and 60 miles altitude. These metal layers can be detected using laser spectroscopy and create subtle nighttime glows visible from space. The metals originate from meteors that vaporize when entering Earth's atmosphere at high velocities. Atmospheric scientists have discovered that approximately 100 tons of meteoric material enters Earth's atmosphere daily. Most vaporizes completely, but the metals persist and accumulate in distinct layers. This constant input of extraterrestrial material means that every breath of air contains atoms that originated in space, arriving aboard meteorites and spreading through atmospheric circulation. But atmospheric mysteries extend beyond chemistry and electricity into domains that challenge conventional physics. The jet streams that drive global weather patterns sometimes develop massive standing waves called atmospheric blocks that can persist for weeks, creating extended periods of unusual weather. These blocks form when the normal eastward flow of the jet stream develops enormous north-south meanders that become locked in position. During blocking events, weather patterns freeze in place, causing extended droughts, heat waves, or cold spells that persist far longer than typical weather systems. The mechanisms that create and maintain atmospheric blocks remain poorly understood, despite their enormous impacts on human societies. Some blocks appear triggered by specific patterns of ocean temperature, while others develop seemingly spontaneously from chaotic atmospheric dynamics. Recent research has identified correlations between atmospheric blocking patterns and unusual configurations of Earth's magnetic field. The connections remain speculative, but suggest that space weather and solar activity may influence atmospheric circulation through electromagnetic effects that standard meteorology doesn't consider. These potential connections between space physics and weather represent frontier research that could revolutionize weather prediction. The discoveries continue beyond atmosphere into Earth's literal surface, where geology produces formations that seem designed by intelligence rather than natural processes. The Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland consists of approximately 40,000 interlocking basalt columns that form almost perfectly hexagonal geometries. These formations resulted from ancient lava flows that cooled and contracted, creating systematic fracture patterns that produce the geometric columns. Similar columnar basalt formations appear worldwide, but the Giant's Causeway demonstrates such geometric precision that legends attributed its construction to mythological giants. The physics governing columnar basalt formation involves thermal contraction and stress relief patterns in cooling lava. As lava cools from the surface downward, thermal contraction creates stress fields that propagate through the material. These stresses release through fracture formation, and the geometry of stress fields naturally produces hexagonal column patterns that minimize stored elastic energy. The process demonstrates how simple physical principles can generate structures that appear intelligently designed. But columnar basalt represents merely one example of geological self-organization that produces seemingly impossible geometries. The Meraki boulders of New Zealand consist of nearly perfect spherical concretions that reach diameters exceeding 6 feet. These spheres formed through mineral precipitation around central nuclei over millions of years within mudstone layers. The spherical geometry results from precipitation processes that operate equally in all directions from central points. The precision of these natural spheres challenges intuitive understanding of geological processes. The boulders demonstrate surface curvatures and dimensional uniformities that rival manufactured objects. So their formation required sustained chemical conditions that remained stable for millions of years, while minerals slowly accumulated in perfectly symmetric patterns. Sailing stones in Death Valley's racetrack playa move across the desert floor, leaving visible trails, yet no human has ever witnessed the movement. The mystery persisted for decades until high-speed cameras finally captured the phenomenon in 2014. The stones move during rare winter conditions when thin ice sheets form on the playa surface. Wind pushing against the ice creates enough force to slide the stones across the slick surface, leaving trails that persist for years in the desert environment. The sailing stones demonstrate how rare combinations of conditions can produce phenomena that seem to violate natural law. The movements require precise conjunctions of freezing temperatures, water accumulation, ice formation, and specific wind conditions that occur perhaps once per decade. The rarity of favorable conditions meant that scientific observation remained impossible until persistent monitoring finally captured the events. Bloodfalls in Antarctica represents one of Earth's most visually striking geological phenomena. A bright red waterfall flows from Taylor Glacier into Lake Bonny, appearing as if the glacier is bleeding. The red color results from iron-rich brine that emerges from beneath the glacier. This subsurface brine has been isolated from the atmosphere for approximately 2 million years, preserved in a sealed reservoir beneath the ice. The chemistry of bloodfalls reveals an entire ecosystem operating in conditions previously thought incompatible with life. The brine contains microorganisms that survive in the complete absence of light and oxygen, metabolizing iron and sulfur compounds to generate energy. These organisms represent some of Earth's most extreme known life forms, surviving in conditions that more closely resemble the subsurface oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa than typical terrestrial environments. The discovery of life in bloodfalls fundamentally expanded understanding of where life can exist. The organisms demonstrate that liquid water, even if extremely salty and isolated from sunlight and oxygen, can support active biological communities. This finding has profound implications for the search for life on other worlds, suggesting that subsurface brines on Mars or ocean worlds like Europa might harbor similar life forms. But geological mysteries extend beyond surface features into the deep interior, where processes operate on scales that dwarf human comprehension. Earth's mantle convects in massive circulation patterns that drive plate tectonics and volcanic activity. These convection cells span thousands of miles and operate on timescales of millions of years, circulating rock through the mantle like an extremely slow liquid. Mantle convection creates upwelling plumes of hot rock that breach the surface as volcanic hotspots. The Hawaiian Islands represent surface expressions of one such mantle plume that has remained essentially stationary while the Pacific Plate moves northwest above it. This process created the entire Hawaiian island chain as the plate migrated across the stationary hotspot over millions of years. Recent seismic imaging has revealed that some mantle plumes extend all the way to the core mantle boundary 1,800 miles beneath the surface. These deep plumes demonstrate that Earth's interior operates as an integrated system, with processes connecting the surface to the planet's deepest layers. Material circulates through the entire mantle thickness, creating chemical and thermal coupling between Earth's surface and core. The core mantle boundary region contains strange seismic anomalies that suggest the presence of massive structures that dwarf mountains. These ultra-low velocity zones show seismic properties indicating they may be partially molten or chemically distinct from surrounding mantle. Their precise nature remains unclear, but they appear to play important roles in mantle convection and Earth's magnetic field generation. Earth's inner core rotates independently from the rest of the planet, spinning slightly faster than the mantle and crust. This differential rotation results from electromagnetic and gravitational coupling between the inner core and surrounding liquid outer core. The rotation rate varies over time, with recent measurements suggesting the inner core's super rotation has slowed and may have temporarily reversed. The implications of inner core rotation remain subjects of active research. The rotation affects Earth's magnetic field generation and may influence the timing of magnetic reversals. Understanding inner core dynamics requires synthesizing data from seismology, geomagnetism, and theoretical physics to model processes occurring at conditions impossible to recreate in laboratories. But Earth's interior contains mysteries that extend beyond structure and dynamics into realms that challenge basic assumptions about planetary composition. Diamonds form in the mantle at depths exceeding 90 miles under extreme pressure and temperature conditions. Volcanic eruptions occasionally transport these diamonds to the surface at velocities exceeding 300 miles per hour, creating kimberlite pipes that represent the only natural mechanism for accessing deep mantle materials. Some diamonds contain inclusions of minerals that only remain stable at extreme depths, providing direct samples of mantle composition from regions inaccessible by any other means. These mineral inclusions reveal that Earth's mantle contains significant water found in crystal structures of high-pressure minerals. The total water content of the mantle may rival or exceed all water in Earth's oceans, suggesting our planet contains a hidden ocean distributed through deep rock. The discovery of mantle water reservoirs fundamentally changes understanding of Earth's water cycle. Water doesn't just circulate through atmosphere and oceans, but also travels through plate tectonics into the mantle, where it affects rock properties and volcanic activity. Subducting oceanic crust transports water into the mantle, while volcanic activity returns water to the surface in a planetary scale circulation that operates over millions of years. Recent discoveries indicate that the transition zone between upper and lower mantle, say located approximately 250 to 400 miles deep, may contain water concentrations exceeding 1% by weight. This region could hold more water than all surface oceans combined, stored in the crystal structures of minerals that exist only under transition zone pressure conditions. The water exists not as liquid, but chemically bound within mineral lattices. Yet the transition zone water remains inaccessible and difficult to study. Scientists infer its presence through seismic wave velocities, laboratory experiments on high-pressure minerals, and analysis of rare diamonds that formed in the transition zone. The water's existence suggests Earth's interior operates as an integrated hydrological system that spans from the surface to depths exceeding 400 miles. But beyond geology and geophysics, Earth harbors biological mysteries that demonstrate life's remarkable adaptability to extreme conditions. Tardigrades, microscopic animals measuring less than 1 millimeter, can survive conditions that would instantly kill virtually any other known organism. These creatures can withstand temperatures approaching absolute zero, pressures exceeding those in the deepest ocean trenches, and radiation levels hundreds of times higher than lethal doses for humans. Tardigrades achieve their extreme resilience through a process called cryptobiosis, where they expel nearly all water from their bodies and enter suspended animation. In this desiccated state, tardigrades can survive for decades without food, water, or oxygen. They can be revived by simply adding water, resuming normal activity after years of metabolic suspension. The mechanisms enabling tardigrade survival involve unique proteins that protect cellular structures during desiccation. These proteins form glass-like matrices that prevent cellular damage when water is removed. Upon rehydration, the proteins dissolve and cells resume normal function. Understanding these protective mechanisms could revolutionize medicine by enabling preservation of cells, tissues, or organs without freezing. Tardigrades have survived exposure to the vacuum of space during experiments aboard satellites. They can withstand solar radiation, cosmic rays, and the temperature extremes of low Earth orbit. These experiments demonstrate that life can potentially survive interplanetary transfer aboard meteorites, supporting theories of panspermia, where life spreads between planets via space rocks. But tardigrades represent only one example of life pushing into extreme environments. Deinococcus radiodurans, nicknamed Conan the bacterium, can survive radiation doses 3,000 times higher than lethal levels for humans. This bacterium possesses redundant DNA repair mechanisms that can reconstruct its genome from hundreds of radiation-induced breaks. The repair processes operate with such efficiency that the organism shows no ill effects from radiation exposure that would completely destroy human cells. The radiation resistance of Deinococcus radiodurans appears to have evolved as an adaptation to extreme desiccation rather than radiation specifically. The DNA repair mechanisms that protect against radiation damage also protect against DNA fragmentation caused by cellular dehydration. This suggests that organisms evolving in extremely dry environments naturally develop radiation resistance as a byproduct of desiccation tolerance. Extremophile organisms have been discovered living in virtually every extreme environment on Earth. Bacteria thrive in boiling hot springs, frozen Antarctic rocks, hypersaline lakes, extremely acidic mine drainage, and deep subsurface rocks kilometers beneath the surface. Each environment hosts specially adapted organisms that have evolved unique biochemical mechanisms for surviving conditions lethal to conventional life forms. The diversity of extremophile adaptations reveals that life's fundamental requirements are remarkably flexible. While most organisms require moderate temperatures, neutral pH, and specific salt concentrations, extremophiles demonstrate that these requirements represent preferences rather than absolute necessities. Life can adapt to virtually any environment that provides liquid water and chemical energy sources. Deep subsurface bacteria live in rock pores and fractures kilometers beneath Earth's surface, completely isolated from sunlight. These organisms derive energy from chemical reactions between minerals and groundwater, growing extremely slowly in environments where a single generation might span years or decades. Their existence demonstrates that Earth's biosphere extends far deeper than previously imagined. The total biomass of deep subsurface bacteria may rival or exceed all life on Earth's surface. These organisms represent a shadow biosphere that operates according to different rules than surface ecosystems. Growing slowly but persisting in stable environments that have remained essentially unchanged for millions of years. Understanding this subsurface biosphere has implications for estimating total planetary biomass and for searching for life on other worlds. But biological extremes extend beyond microorganisms into complex organisms that demonstrate remarkable adaptive capabilities. The immortal jellyfish Turritopsis dohernii can reverse its aging process, transforming from adult form back into juvenile polyp stage. This process, called transdifferentiation, allows the jellyfish to potentially live indefinitely by cycling between life stages. The immortal jellyfish achieves transdifferentiation through cellular reprogramming that converts specialized adult cells back into stem cell-like states. These cells then redifferentiate into juvenile tissue types, effectively resetting the organism's developmental clock. Understanding these processes could provide insights into aging, regeneration, and cellular plasticity that might eventually lead to medical applications. Hydras, small freshwater organisms, demonstrate similar immortality through continuous regeneration. Hydras possess stem cells that continuously replace all body tissues, preventing the accumulation of cellular damage associated with aging. Laboratory populations have been observed for years without showing any signs of senescence, suggesting these organisms may not experience aging under favorable conditions. The existence of biologically immortal organisms challenges assumptions about aging as an inevitable process. These organisms demonstrate that biological aging results from specific cellular limitations rather than fundamental thermodynamic constraints. Understanding the mechanisms enabling biological immortality could reveal pathways for extending longevity in organisms that currently age. Glass sponges can live for thousands of years, with some specimens estimated at over 10,000 years old. These organisms grow extremely slowly in deep, cold ocean environments, where stable conditions allow for extraordinary longevity. Their silica skeletons accumulate growth rings that preserve environmental records spanning millennia, functioning as natural archives of ocean conditions. The longevity of glass sponges results from extremely slow metabolism and minimal exposure to environmental stresses. Their deep ocean habitats experience little temperature variation, stable food supply, and minimal predation. These conditions allow glass sponges to persist indefinitely, limited primarily by physical disturbance rather than biological aging. But beyond extremophiles and immortal organisms, Earth hosts biological phenomena that demonstrate nature's capacity for engineering solutions that rival human technology. The bombardier beetle produces chemical explosions as a defense mechanism, mixing hydrogen peroxide and hydroquinone in a specialized combustion chamber. The reaction reaches temperatures near boiling and propels caustic spray at predators with remarkable accuracy. The bombardier beetle's defense system operates through precisely controlled chemical reactions that would be dangerous if not managed correctly. No, the beetle stores reactants in separate chambers and controls their mixing through muscular valves. The combustion chamber contains catalysts that accelerate the reaction and specialized structures that direct the explosive spray toward threats. This biological engineering demonstrates that evolution can produce sophisticated chemical weapon systems through natural selection. The precision required to operate explosive chemical reactions safely would challenge human engineers, yet beetles have evolved these capabilities through stepwise improvements over millions of years. Electric eels generate electrical discharges exceeding 600 volts, powerful enough to stun prey or deter predators. These fish produce electricity through specialized cells called electrocytes that function like biological batteries, so thousands of electrocytes stack in series, with individual cells contributing small voltages that sum to produce powerful shocks. The electric eel's electrical system demonstrates biological electricity generation that rivals human electrical engineering. The fish can modulate discharge voltage, frequency, and duration depending on circumstances, using low-voltage pulses for navigation and communication, while reserving high-voltage discharges for defense and hunting. The control mechanisms involve sophisticated neural circuits that coordinate thousands of individual cells. Mantis shrimp possess the most complex eyes known in any animal, with 16 different types of photoreceptor cells, compared to humans' 3 types. This visual system can detect polarization patterns, ultraviolet light, and potentially even perceive circular polarized light. Mantis shrimp eyes operate more like satellite imaging sensors than conventional animal eyes, but mantis shrimp eyes represent only one aspect of their remarkable biology. These creatures can strike with their specialized front limbs at accelerations exceeding 100,000 meters per second squared, creating cavitation bubbles that generate temperatures approaching those on the sun's surface. The strikes move so fast that they boil the surrounding water through pure mechanical energy. The physics of mantis shrimp strikes involves accelerating the appendage to approximately 50 miles per hour in approximately 3 milliseconds. This acceleration requires specialized spring mechanisms that store elastic energy and release it explosively. The impact generates shock waves and cavitation that can crack aquarium glass and would severely injure any human unfortunate enough to be struck. Lyrebird species in Australia can perfectly mimic virtually any sound they encounter, including chainsaws, car alarms, and camera shutters. Their vocal capabilities exceed those of parrots and other mimics, reproducing complex sounds with remarkable fidelity. The birds use these mimicry abilities in territorial displays and courtship, creating elaborate acoustic performances. The neural and anatomical structures enabling lyrebird mimicry remain subjects of ongoing research. The birds possess highly developed vocal control regions in their brains and specialized syrinx structures that allow for extremely precise sound production. Their ability to learn and reproduce novel sounds throughout their lives demonstrates remarkable neuroplasticity. But beyond individual species' remarkable capabilities, ecosystems themselves exhibit emergent properties that seem impossibly complex. Mycorrhizal networks connect trees through fungal filaments that extend through forest soil, creating biological internet systems that enable communication and resource sharing among plants. Trees can transfer nutrients, chemical signals, and even warnings about pest infestations through these networks. Recent research has revealed that mother trees use mycorrhizal networks to support their offspring, preferentially transferring resources to genetically related seedlings. The networks create social structures among trees that were previously thought impossible in plants. And these findings fundamentally challenge assumptions about plant behavior and demonstrate that forests operate as integrated superorganisms rather than collections of independent individuals. The complexity of mycorrhizal networks rivals computer networks designed by human engineers. The fungal filaments optimize nutrient transport, reroute around damage, and even appear to make strategic decisions about resource allocation. The networks exhibit properties suggesting rudimentary information processing and decision-making capabilities implemented through biological rather than electronic systems. Slime molds, despite being single-celled organisms, can solve complex optimization problems, like finding shortest paths through mazes. When presented with food sources separated by obstacles, slime molds grow networks that efficiently connect food locations while minimizing total path length. This capability has inspired computer algorithms and demonstrates that intelligence and problem-solving can emerge from simple biological systems. Experiments have shown that slime molds can recreate efficient transportation networks similar to human-designed railway systems. When food sources were arranged to match cities around Tokyo, the slime mold grew a network remarkably similar to the actual Tokyo rail system, suggesting that biological optimization and human engineering sometimes converge on similar solutions. The mechanisms enabling slime mold problem-solving involve distributed computation across the organism's body. Different parts of the slime mold communicate through chemical signals and respond to local conditions, creating emergent global behavior from local interactions. This distributed intelligence demonstrates that sophisticated computation doesn't require centralized brains or nervous systems. But Earth's biological mysteries extend into realms that challenge fundamental assumptions about the nature of life itself. Viruses occupy an uncertain position between living and non-living matter, possessing genes and evolving like living organisms, but lacking metabolic machinery and requiring host cells to reproduce. The total number of viral particles on Earth exceeds the number of stars in the universe by several orders of magnitude. Ocean water contains approximately 10 million viral particles per milliliter, making viruses the most abundant biological entities on the planet. These viruses primarily infect bacteria and play crucial roles in marine ecosystems by controlling bacterial populations and facilitating genetic transfer between different bacterial species. The ecological impacts of marine viruses rival those of any other organism. Giant viruses discovered in recent decades possess genomes larger than some bacteria, containing genes for functions previously thought exclusive to cellular life. These viruses blur distinctions between viruses and cellular organisms, suggesting that the boundary between living and non-living may be less clear than traditionally assumed. Some scientists propose that giant viruses represent a fourth domain of life alongside bacteria, archaea, and eukaryotes. The discovery of giant viruses has reopened debates about the origin of life and the nature of biological organization. These viruses possess sufficient genetic complexity to potentially represent ancient lineages that diverged before the separation of cellular life domains. Understanding their evolutionary history could provide insights into life's early history, when the distinctions between different forms of biological organization had not yet solidified. Prions represent an even stranger category of biological agent, consisting of misfolded proteins that can induce other proteins to adopt the same pathological configuration. Prions cause fatal neurodegenerative diseases and can propagate indefinitely despite containing no genetic material. They demonstrate that biological information can be encoded in protein structures as well as genetic sequences. The existence of prions challenges the central dogma of molecular biology, which assumes that biological information flows from DNA to RNA to proteins. Prions show that proteins themselves can carry heritable information through structural conformations. This finding has implications for understanding disease mechanisms and potentially for evolutionary processes if protein conformations can be transmitted across generations. But beyond viruses and prions, Earth harbors mysteries at the boundary between biology and geology. Living rocks in the Atacama Desert contain communities of microorganisms that colonize the interior of translucent stones, creating ecosystems within mineral matrices. These organisms receive light through the translucent rock, while being protected from extreme surface conditions. The endolithic communities demonstrate life's ability to colonize virtually any environment that provides minimal requirements for survival. The organisms grow extremely slowly, protected from desiccation and temperature extremes by their rocky homes. Similar endolithic communities may exist on Mars, where subsurface rock environments could provide protection from harsh surface conditions while allowing access to minimal light and moisture. Stromatolites represent living fossils, with structures built by microbial communities essentially unchanged for over 3 billion years. These layered structures form as bacterial mats, trap sediment, and precipitate minerals, creating rock formations that preserve records of microbial activity. Modern stromatolites in Shark Bay, Australia, provide windows into Earth's ancient microbial ecosystems. The persistence of stromatolites across billions of years demonstrates that successful biological strategies can remain essentially unchanged through vast spans of time. The organisms building modern stromatolites use the same basic metabolic processes as their ancient ancestors, suggesting that fundamental biological innovations established early in Earth's history have proven so effective that evolution hasn't substantially improved upon them. But biological mysteries extend beyond extremophiles and ancient life forms into phenomena that demonstrate nature's capacity for organization at massive scales. Synchronized flowering of bamboo species occurs at precise intervals spanning decades, with entire populations blooming simultaneously across vast geographic ranges. Some species flower every 60 to 120 years, with the timing so precise that plants grown from seeds in different locations will flower at the same time. The mechanisms controlling bamboo flowering cycles remain mysterious. The plants appear to count years through some unknown biological clock that operates with remarkable precision across decades. The synchronized flowering may represent an evolutionary strategy to overwhelm seed predators through massive simultaneous seed production, ensuring some seeds survive despite predation. Periodic cicadas demonstrate similar mass synchronization, emerging in enormous numbers at 13 or 17-year intervals. The prime number periodicity may have evolved to avoid synchronizing with predator population cycles. The emergence of billions of cicadas simultaneously represents one of nature's most remarkable synchronized events, coordinating the life cycles of countless individuals across entire regions. The biological clocks controlling cicada emergence operate with precision that rivals human timekeeping devices. Nymphs underground somehow track years, despite having no access to seasonal cues that typically regulate biological rhythms. The mechanisms remain unknown, but demonstrate that organisms can maintain accurate long-term timing through unknown biological processes. Mass migrations of monarch butterflies span thousands of miles, with individual butterflies navigating to specific wintering sites they have never visited. The migrations require multiple generations, with no individual butterfly completing the entire round-trip journey. Yet each generation knows the route and destination through inherited navigation instructions, encoded genetically. The monarch navigation system uses a sun compass, calibrated by circadian clocks, allowing butterflies to maintain constant compass headings, despite the sun's movement across the sky. The insects also appear to use magnetic field detection for navigation, integrating multiple sensory inputs to maintain accurate courses across continental distances. Christmas Island red crabs participate in annual mass migrations, where millions of crabs simultaneously leave forest habitats and march to the ocean for breeding. The migration timing synchronizes with lunar cycles and seasonal rainfall, creating spectacular events where crabs blanket roads and forests. The synchronized migration represents remarkable coordination among millions of individual organisms responding to shared environmental cues. But beyond migration and synchronization, organisms demonstrate capabilities that seem to violate physical laws. Geckos can climb smooth vertical surfaces and even hang from ceilings using van der Waals forces between their toe pads and surfaces. Each toe pad contains millions of microscopic hairs that create molecular-level adhesion through quantum mechanical forces. The gecko adhesion system demonstrates biological nanotechnology that operates at molecular scales. The microscopic hairs, called setae, branch into even smaller structures that maximize surface contact. The total adhesive force from millions of contact points allows geckos to support their entire body weight on smooth vertical surfaces or ceilings. Human engineers have attempted to replicate gecko adhesion for decades with limited success. The biological system operates through hierarchical structures spanning multiple size scales, from millimeter-sized toe pads to nanometer-scale contact points. Reproducing this structural hierarchy using manufactured materials has proven extremely challenging. Butterflies navigate using Earth's magnetic field through quantum mechanical processes in specialized eye proteins. Magnetic field interactions affect quantum spin states of electron pairs, creating chemical reactions whose rates depend on magnetic field direction. The butterflies essentially see magnetic fields through quantum biological processes. The discovery of quantum effects in biological systems challenges assumptions that quantum mechanics operates only in controlled laboratory conditions. Living organisms apparently exploit quantum phenomena for practical purposes like navigation, suggesting that biology and quantum physics intersect in ways not previously recognized. Photosynthesis operates through quantum coherence effects that allow energy to explore multiple pathways simultaneously, finding optimal routes through molecular structures. These quantum effects persist for surprisingly long times at biological temperatures, suggesting that evolution has optimized biological systems to exploit quantum mechanics for increased efficiency. The quantum biology discoveries reveal that living organisms operate at the boundary between classical and quantum physics. Exploiting quantum effects were advantageous while maintaining classical behavior at larger scales. Understanding these quantum biological processes could inspire new technologies that harness quantum effects in room temperature systems. But Earth's mysteries extend beyond biology into atmospheric and geological phenomena that defy conventional explanations. Ball lightning represents one of meteorology's most persistent mysteries, with thousands of eyewitness reports but minimal scientific documentation. These luminous spheres reportedly float through the air, pass through solid objects, and sometimes explode with considerable force. The physics of ball lightning remains controversial, with proposed explanations ranging from plasma phenomena to chemical reactions involving silicon vaporized from soil. The lack of controlled observations has prevented definitive understanding, leaving ball lightning as one of the few atmospheric phenomena that remains scientifically mysterious despite modern instrumentation. Recent laboratory experiments have created short-lived luminous spheres through electrical discharges into various materials. But these laboratory phenomena last only fractions of seconds compared to ball lightning reports of spheres persisting for minutes. The gap between laboratory results and eyewitness descriptions suggests either that reports exaggerate ball lightning duration or that natural ball lightning operates through mechanisms not yet reproduced in laboratories. Earthquake lights represent another mysterious phenomenon, with reports of luminous displays appearing before or during seismic events. These lights appear as diffuse glows, streaks, or ball-like objects in the sky, sometimes occurring days before earthquakes. The mechanism remains unclear, with proposed explanations involving piezoelectric effects in stressed rocks or electromagnetic disturbances associated with fault movements. The correlation between earthquake lights and seismic activity remains controversial, with skeptics attributing many reports to misidentified conventional phenomena. However, some documented cases recorded on video show luminous phenomena clearly associated with earthquake timing and location, suggesting that at least some earthquake lights represent genuine physical phenomena related to seismic processes. The Hessdalen lights in Norway represent a persistent, anomalous light phenomenon that has been scientifically documented for decades. Bright lights appear in a specific valley, demonstrating characteristics inconsistent with known atmospheric phenomena. The lights show structure, movement patterns, and spectroscopic signatures that don't match conventional explanations like auroras or ball lightning. Scientific monitoring stations in Hessdalen have recorded thousands of light events, providing extensive data on a phenomenon that remains unexplained. The lights appear more frequently during winter, suggesting seasonal environmental factors play roles in their generation. Various theories propose exotic plasma phenomena, piezoelectric effects, or unknown atmospheric chemistry, but no explanation has gained consensus.